So the episode Tricksters, we're about to fully spoil. You've been warned. Okay. Another big episode. They're kind of like, because it was already one that we're like, oh, this Mark Hamill coming back, that's just really cool. And it almost could have been a standalone in theory. And I guess it was in as far as the villain was concerned. But then there was a lot going on with the whole Harrison Wells stuff.
I love the Wells stuff. What was really interesting to me that they were able to pull off is have Hamill come in and do his wonderful, campy Hamill so big, so campy, like belongs in another era to some degree. I mean, it came from another era.
And to be fair, even on that 1990 show was almost a throwback to Batman from the 60s. Because the Flash, the 1990 show, while campier than this show, was still not the Batman 60s show.
Right.
You know?
So it's like but yet it fits somehow. You know, they somehow tonally made it fit with this reveal about Harrison Wells, who is not Harrison Wells.
Right. And we've been waiting for the other shoe to drop. Because we've had so many conversations about this. We're like, look, it can't be that simple.
It can't be.
And the way they revealed it, and they're like, Harrison Wells is Reverse Flash. We're like, it just, and they were like, they were implying there was more to it. So, yeah, when we saw Reverse Flash like unmask, and it's like, we don't know who the hell that is.
Yeah, I know. And I really, like, I had to go back. I was like, am I seeing
Did they put
things?
Cavanagh on weird makeup?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here?
What's going on? And
did they like really screw up his young, he's supposed to be 15 years younger? Like,
yeah, and I was like, nice casting.
Right.
But it's great because I think we'll be seeing more of him.
Yeah.
But also, it didn't look like that went well for him, but maybe Harrison Wells, the real Harrison Wells, is still somehow alive.
I feel like what I got, and plus you can even read a piece, Amy Ratcliffe did for us where she did that, at that Q&A with Kreisberg, they kind of imply this. It's like, because Harrison Wells, from what we saw, is dead physically.
He looked physically dead.
Yeah, but you have to look back on the way he's acted, and we don't know anything about Thawne, or am I saying this right? Yeah, Thawne. We don't know enough about him to say much except that, yes, he's willing to kill, but we don't know a lot of details. But the affection he seemed to have shown for Harrison's wife, it makes you think that there's like, he killed Harrison physically, but he's now kind of absorbed not just his looks, but like there's part of Harrison within him.
Yeah, that some of that, I mean, it's actually kind of an interesting question, like that some of his emotional life would have been in his DNA makeup.
Right.
Because he basically took his DNA.
Yeah.
And he made it his own, and left him rotting on the side of the road with his dead wife.
Right.
Not a nice guy.
Mm-hmm. Not a nice guy, but raises a lot of questions. Is Tom Cavanagh going to be like only on this show for one season because Reverse Flash is either killed or leaves, or can he like basically, will that almost be a Jekyll and Hyde thing? Like, will it be like they like make the Harrison personality kind of exert itself and take control of the body? But
which I think that's what they're trying to figure out a solve for now, because I think that they realize that the audience really likes Wells and has grown attached to him even as much as we hate it when he's evil.
Yeah.
So maybe they want to figure out a way to have him stick around and be not evil. And that's an interesting problem for them to solve.
Yeah.
I hope that they do, because I love Tom Cavanagh.
Me too. And again, I look at this like a TV show like they must as writers, and they're like, okay, next season, Star Labs is kind of the headquarters.
Yeah.
It would kind of be weird to not have that authority figure, right? To just have it be the kids, quote unquote, but these young scientists, with no one like in charge, I
mean, my other question too is that now that you've played your biggest card the first season, where do you go?
Right.
I mean, what villains? I mean, there's so many great villains, right? But like this villain is so awesome.
Yeah.
But I also think that they've created an open door where this doesn't have to be the end of Reverse Flash, because there is some connection with Eddie. There's obviously some lineage connection with Eddie.
He's a distant relative.
He's a distant relative, maybe not so distant, maybe like great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
Yeah.
But a relative, well, that is a distant relative. Anyway, whatever. You get it. But why did he have that ability? Did Eddie get that ability and then genetically pass it down?
Right.
Like, there's still a lot to play with.
There's a lot to play with, and we were kind of insinuating this earlier.
Plus, we might go to the future.
We might go to the future because now it's like it's a show that includes time travel in this major way.
Centuries ahead.
Centuries ahead.
It's a whole world building.
And then, they are rapidly, again, no pun intended, but they're introducing his other powers. And so the fact that he like ran through a wall for the first time, They introduced the idea, the terminology even of the Speed Force.
Yeah.
So they're going
That was
big.
a great moment,
That was a great
too.
moment, yeah. And
was talking
and those have all
through
been a
it.
lot of great, and that would be something you'd lose if Cavanagh's gone, is he has a lot of those great, like,
Yeah.
use the Force
Yeah.
scenes, no pun intended, with the guest star on this episode. They're going...
You can pun.
I can pun. I love the pun. What am I saying? Puns intended, left and right. Yeah, so they're introducing all these big ideas this season. It is, it is kind of a sort of risky thing to do. I guess you're right as far as like, wow, they're kind of playing a lot of cards early.
Yeah.
But so far, I don't know. The show's just, there's so much confidence with the show, and it's so fun that I'm excited. I'm not nervous. Yeah, I guess you could cross a line where I'd be like, oh, you've done too much this season, and that has happened. And I'm going into a totally different realm, but I've always regretted that Dexter season 2 did they found the body storyline. It was too damn early.
It was
to
way
do that
too early.
storyline, and I know that they were like, the producers like almost prided themselves on that. Oh, we didn't want to hold back. I'm like, sometimes you should hold back.
Yeah.
And finding the bodies was not a season 2 storyline.
It was not that unless
Yeah.
you only wanted 2 seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can go too far in that regard and then kind of box yourself in after the fact. But yeah, I don't know. I guess one other thing that helps with The Flash, though, is, of course, it's decades and decades of stories to pull from.
Yeah, and I think that you can feel the genuine, I'm not saying that most shows don't have affections for their characters, but I think you can feel the genuine affection that these creators have for
These
this
are
character.
fans making it,
These
yeah.
are fans making it, and they're into it, and I believe that if they are playing these cards the first season, it's because they know what they want to do the second season.
They have ambitious ideas.
That they have big ideas for
Yeah.
the second, because this has been so great.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is a great arc.
Yeah,
I think. There's great, episodic, but it's the arc that I'm into personally.
Yeah, and then, just to circle back to Hamill, it's like, yeah, he was super fun, and I wonder, knowing the title of the episodes and what the setup was, I was like, oh, is it like a one episode guest star role and he'll die at the end or something? But he didn't, and both Tricksters are still in play, and they've already implied
your father.
that was great. Yeah, so I'm hopeful.
I like how he even did this. He delivers the line. He goes, "I am your father."
Yeah,
He does a little like,
I was saying the line.
Like it.
So he was great, and I hope he'll be back, and I think he will be.
Yeah, I think so too.
So yeah, it really worked. It was Joshua was saying, I think it was Joshua saying that it was like one of his favorite episodes, and I'd say the same here because
absolutely.
It juggled a lot. It was, again, if they didn't do the well stuff, it would have been like, this is a really fun episode, and the throwbacks and having actual pictures from the 1990 Flash show, that was great. That would have been fun on its own. The well stuff would have been awesome on its own, but it was both. So.
And then it had the parallel. I mean, this whole season's been dealing with like Barry's 2 dads, you know. But then there was like
3 dads.
3 dads. Yeah, you're right. And
Yeah.
then there was the father son, the Tricksters, and then you're right because Wells is another father figure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so sad. And then there's whatever this connection is between him and Eddie, which I imagine
We'll know by the finale. Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder if they're not holding some of that back to dig into next season.
Right.
They'll hint at it maybe in the finale.
Before we move on, I do want to mention Jesse, who reviews the show for us, did say one thing I agreed with on criticism side, which is they are running out of, they've actually already run out of reasons, but it's time to let Iris in on the secret.
Yes.
And because
Poor Iris.
she found out a couple weeks ago, but then it was undone. Because this was a funny episode because both Henry Allen and Eddie found out. It was like Barry's taking off his mask to everyone. So now we're back to the place, kind of like Arrow is with Lance, where there's one character who doesn't know the secret, and justifying why everyone would think not to tell her is a stretch. They're trying to protect her, but she already has a relationship with the Flash. She's already in danger.
She's every other minute.
Right.
She's
So it
in
feels
danger.
like it's only. It only can maybe put her in more danger not knowing physically, and is almost psychologically like, why are you messing? Like, come on, Joe. Why would you? At this point, it's kind of mean to not let your daughter know.
And I like that Eddie was like, yeah, debatable, you know.
Right.
And I think that Amy did an interview with Andrew Kreisberg, and he even mentioned the Q&A, where he sort of mentioned like, the fun thing about Eddie is that he's a good guy. Like he's just like, he's trying to do and I think he's going to make that argument. And I'm like, why are you messing with her head?
Right,
This just isn't right. And he's right. Like, you've got to tell her.
Yeah, so I hope that's changed soon.
I think so, too.
Because it's time. It's kind of awkward now. By the end of that episode, now that everyone knew but her.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Like, even her boyfriend that you can't stand. You told him,
Right.
not her? Come
Come on, Barry. There's only one more person to take your mask
Like-
off to. Let's do it. But yeah, we're super excited. That trailer at the end was
Yeah.
amazing.
I can't wait for more of the Well stuff, but
Yeah.
I almost don't want it to end because I like it so much.
Yeah, same here. So we'll be talking plenty more in the Flash soon.